tell you something, fellas. After more than 15 years of practicing medicine and sitting across the desk from thousands of men dealing with blood sugar problems, I've learned one thing for certain. Most of you are getting only half the story when it comes to managing your glucose. You walk out of your doctor's office with a prescription for metformin, a pat on the back, and a vague warning to watch your diet. That's it. Nobody tells you about the 9 natural compounds that could be working alongside your healthy habits to give you real lasting control over your blood sugar. I'm Dr. Isabella Norris, and I want to be straight with you right out of the gate. I prescribe supplements in my clinic every single day. So, I'm not here to tell you supplements are bad, and I'm not going to pretend there's some kind of miracle cure either. The truth is, I don't even like calling them supplements. I prefer the word complements, because that's exactly what they are. They complement good habits and solid nutrition. They don't replace them. If you're eating fast food 5 nights a week and sitting on the couch watching the game with a bag of chips, no pill in the world is going to save you. But if you're putting in the work, these 9 compounds can be game changers. So today I'm going to walk you through all 9, explain how each one actually works inside your body, and give you the kind of practical information I share with my own patients here in the States. Before we dive in, I need you to understand something important about blood sugar that most folks get wrong. Lowering your blood sugar isn't about just yanking a high number down to a low number. That's not the goal. The real goal is regulation, teaching your body to keep that glucose level steady and available when you need it. And the hormone that runs this whole show is insulin. Here's how it works in plain English. When you eat, sugar enters your bloodstream. Insulin's job is to walk up to each of your cells, knock on the door, and tell that cell, hey, open up, let this sugar in so it doesn't pile up in the blood. That's what we mean by lowering blood sugar. Now, problems happen at 2 ends of this system. Either your body produces too much insulin over and over again, which is actually how type 2 diabetes starts, or insulin shows up at the cell door and the cell won't open up. That's called insulin resistance. Most of the supplements I'm about to tell you about work on one or both of these mechanisms. Keep that framework in your head as we go through this list, because once you understand it, everything clicks into place. All right, number 1 on the list is cinnamon. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, cinnamon? Like the stuff on my oatmeal? Yes, but with a big asterisk. If you're going to use a cinnamon supplement, or even buy cinnamon for your kitchen, you need to look for one specific kind. Ceylon cinnamon. I'll spell that out. Ceylon. Don't grab the regular Cassia cinnamon you find in most grocery store aisles, because Cassia contains high levels of a compound called coumarin. And at the doses you'd need for blood sugar benefits, that coumarin can become toxic to your liver. Ceylon cinnamon is the safe choice. Studies show it helps improve insulin resistance, meaning when insulin shows up at your cell, that door opens a little easier. For dosing, I generally suggest my patients start somewhere around 1 to 2 grams a day, taken with meals. You can find it as a capsule at most health food stores or online from reputable brands like Frontier Co-op or Ceylon Cinnamon Company. Always check the label and make sure it specifically says Ceylon, not just cinnamon. Number 2 is vanadium. Vanadium works on the exact same mechanism as cinnamon. It helps your cells respond better to insulin. It's a powerful little trace mineral. And there's good synergy between vanadium and cinnamon when you use them together. But I need to give you a serious word of caution here, especially for you, older gentlemen. Vanadium cannot be used long-term. Some studies and clinical observations have shown it can cause short-term memory issues in certain people. Doesn't happen to everyone, but it's documented. So the way I use vanadium with my patients is in cycles. About 3 months on, then take a break for a couple of months, then you can cycle it back in if needed. Don't just take it forever. Typical dosing is on the lower end, around 50 to 100 micrograms a day, and please don't go higher than that without talking to your doctor. Number 3 is probiotics. Now I know this one might surprise some of you. What do bacteria in my gut have to do with blood sugar? Turns out, a heck of a lot. Here's the deal. When your gut flora gets thrown off, which happens from things like rounds of antibiotics, low stomach acid from chronic antacid use, or all those artificial sweeteners in your diet sodas and sugar-free gum, your colon becomes inflamed. And here's the kicker that's been clearly demonstrated in research, that gut inflammation directly causes insulin resistance. So your pancreas pumps out insulin, insulin shows up at the cell, and the cell won't open the door because the whole system is inflamed. That sugar then sits in your bloodstream where it shouldn't be. A good quality probiotic helps you repopulate the right bacteria, calm down that inflammation, and reverse some of that insulin resistance. Look for a probiotic with at least 30 to 50 billion CFS and multiple strains. Brands like Garden of Life, Claire Labs, or Seed are solid options I've seen good results with. Take it on an empty stomach, usually first thing in the morning. Number 4 is alpha-lipoic acid, often called ALA. This is one of my favorites. ALA is a powerful antioxidant that's been used in medicine for decades, both orally and intravenously for blood sugar management, energy recovery, and even nerve protection, which matters a lot for you guys dealing with diabetic neuropathy in your feet and hands. ALA works on both sides of the equation. It helps with insulin resistance and it helps regulate excess insulin production. So you're getting a 2-for-1. Now, there are 2 forms of this stuff on the market, and this is important. There's regular alpha-lipoic acid, and then there's R-alpha-lipoic acid. The R form is the more bioactive version your body actually uses, and while it costs a bit more, it's worth it. Brands like Doctor's Best or Jarrow make reliable R-ALA products. A couple of warnings. Some people get stomach upset or mild reflux from ALA, so take it with food. And if you go too high on the dose, you can actually experience hypoglycemia symptoms. Shakiness, sweating, lightheadedness, because it pulls sugar out of the blood so effectively. Start low, around 200 to 300 milligrams a day, and work up if needed. Number 5, and this one I absolutely love, is berberine. Berberine fascinates me. It's one of the most powerful natural compounds I've ever worked with for blood sugar control. Let me explain why with a little story. A lot of folks believe you have to be eating constantly throughout the day or your blood sugar will crash. They think low blood sugar means you'll just keel over, like a car running out of gas. But here's a question I always ask my patients. If that were true, why don't you die in your sleep? You go 8, 10, sometimes 12 hours overnight without eating, and you wake up just fine. That's because your liver and your muscles store energy and release it slowly to keep your blood sugar steady. Now, in folks with blood sugar problems, that overnight system gets out of whack. The liver dumps too much glucose during the night, and you wake up with high fasting blood sugar, even though you haven't eaten since dinner. That's a sign your body's struggling. Metformin, the most commonly prescribed drug for this, works on this exact mechanism. But metformin comes with a list of side effects that a lot of you know about firsthand. Gastrointestinal issues, B12 deficiency, fatigue, and over time some real concerns about kidney function. Berberine modulates that same overnight liver process, but more gently and more naturally. There's also strong research showing berberine helps with cholesterol regulation in many people. Now, berberine isn't always easy to find depending on where you live, but in the US, you can get it from solid brands like Thorne or Integrative Therapeutics. Standard dosing is around 500 milligrams, 2 to 3 times a day, taken with meals. Number 6 is vitamin D, and gentlemen, this one is critical. The vitamin D deficiency epidemic in this country is real, especially among older men who spend most of their time indoors. Vitamin D isn't really a vitamin at all. It functions as a hormone, and it touches almost every system in your body. Bones, joints, immune function, mood, hormone balance with cortisol, recognition of viruses and bacteria. Vitamin D is everywhere. But here's how it ties into blood sugar. After you eat, certain proteins in your intestine get activated that send a signal to your pancreas before glucose even hits your bloodstream. That signal tells the pancreas, get ready to release insulin, but only as much as we actually need. Vitamin D is a key player in keeping that signal precise. Not too much, not too little. I like to keep my patients with blood levels between 50 and 100 nanograms per milliliter. For most older men, that means supplementing somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 IU per day. Ask your doctor for a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test to know where you stand. This is one of the cheapest, most impactful supplements you can take. And remember, anything I share about dosing isn't a personal prescription. It's just what I do in my practice. Any choice you make is your own responsibility. Number 7 is resveratrol. Resveratrol is what's called a phytonutrient, meaning it only exists in the plant kingdom. And you mostly find it in fruits, especially red ones. Grapes, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, cranberries. Those red and purple pigments contain resveratrol. Yes, this is the compound that makes red wine famous, though I'd encourage most of you to get it from food rather than alcohol, especially if you're managing blood sugar. Resveratrol has powerful antioxidant capabilities, reduces inflammation, and helps modulate your insulin response. Now here's something I want every one of you to commit to memory, because this is the kind of mistake people make all the time. When they walk into a vitamin store, sometimes you'll see a blood sugar support supplement on the shelf, and the label brags that it has cinnamon, alpha-lipoic acid, and resveratrol all in one pill. And you think, jackpot, 3 for the price of 1. But here's the catch. Math and chemistry are not the same thing. When you mix resveratrol and alpha-lipoic acid together in the same product, they actually cancel each other out. You're paying for ingredients that nullify each other. So always read your labels and never buy a supplement that combines those two specific compounds. If you want both, take them at separate times of day. For dosing, around 200 to 500 milligrams of resveratrol daily is reasonable. Number 8 is one of my absolute favorites, magnesium. I'm telling you, magnesium is a workhorse. The vast majority of Americans walk around chronically deficient in magnesium. And when you start putting it back into the body, the response can be remarkable. Why does it matter so much? Magnesium is involved in more than 400 enzymatic functions in your body. Over 400. It's the silent worker behind countless processes. Now, when it comes to blood sugar specifically, I give magnesium to 100% of my diabetic patients, every single one. Magnesium plays a role in the balance of glucose, the equilibrium of insulin, and dozens of intermediary processes that affect how your body handles sugar. It's not always the star of the show, but it's the supporting actor in so many scenes that it becomes essential. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. The form of magnesium matters enormously. Skip the cheap magnesium oxide you find at the drugstore. Your body can barely absorb it, and all it'll do is send you running to the bathroom. The forms I recommend are magnesium citrate or magnesium glycinate. Glycinate is especially gentle on the stomach and great for guys who deal with sleep issues, since it has a calming effect. Citrate is excellent if you also struggle with constipation. Typical dosing is around 300 to 400 milligrams a day, taken in the evening for best absorption and sleep benefits. And finally, number 9, chromium. Chromium, particularly chromium picolinate, is the form most folks are familiar with, and it's well studied for blood sugar support. There's also a patented form called Chrominex or Chromax that I've used with some patients with good results. And just to be clear, I have no relationship with the manufacturers. I'm just sharing what I've actually seen work in clinical practice. Chromium works on insulin resistance, and it also has some effect on insulin production itself. So you're getting action on both fronts. Chromium is found naturally in foods like broccoli, whole grains, and lean meats, but the amounts in modern food are pretty low because of soil depletion. For supplementation, around 200 to 400 micrograms a day of chromium picolinate is the standard range. Now here's the most important thing I want to leave you with, and this is where most YouTube videos drop the ball. The point is not for you to walk into your local Whole Foods or GNC tomorrow morning and load up on all 9 of these supplements. That's not how this works. The smart approach is to combine 2 or 3 based on your specific situation. Let me give you some examples of combinations I actually use with my patients. If you're in good general health and just want metabolic support, try cinnamon, alpha-lipoic acid, berberine, and a glass of red wine occasionally for that resveratrol kick. That's a solid baseline. If you want a more therapeutic combination targeting insulin resistance, try R-alpha-lipoic acid, magnesium glycinate, and berberine. That's a powerhouse trio. If you've recently been on antibiotics and you've noticed you're putting on weight even though your eating habits haven't changed, try probiotics, vitamin D, and chromium. That combination addresses gut inflammation while supporting glucose regulation. The framework I want you to remember is this. Pick something that works on insulin resistance, something that works on insulin production, and something that helps with the intermediary processes. That balanced approach is what's going to give you real sustainable results. Now, I want to address a couple of questions I get all the time from my patients, especially the men in your age group. The number one question is always about metformin. Many of you have been on metformin for years. You're worried about the side effects. You've heard the concerns about long-term kidney impact and B12 depletion, and you're wondering if you can taper off it. My answer is always the same. Never stop a prescribed medication on your own. Talk to your doctor. But in many cases, when patients combine berberine with magnesium and serious lifestyle changes, their A1C improves to the point where their doctor actively reduces their metformin dose. It happens regularly in my practice. So have that conversation with your physician, but bring data with you. Keep a log of your fasting blood sugar every morning and bring it in. The second question I get is about where to buy quality supplements. Listen, the supplement industry is largely unregulated, and there's a lot of garbage on the shelves. Look for brands that are third-party tested. Look for the USP verification mark or NSF certification on the label. Brands I've personally vetted and trust include Thorne, Pure Encapsulations, Jarrow Formulas, Doctor's Best, and Designs for Health. Avoid the no-name brands you see advertised on late-night TV with grand promises. If a supplement claims to cure diabetes, run the other way. The third question, and this one's important for you older gentlemen, is what to do if you have additional health issues like kidney problems or you're on blood thinners. If you have chronic kidney disease, you need to be cautious with magnesium supplementation because impaired kidneys can't excrete magnesium efficiently and levels can build up dangerously. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin and vitamin D and certain other supplements can interact, so always run your full supplement list past your doctor or pharmacist. Don't assume natural means harmless. It doesn't. I want to close with this. After more than 15 years of doing this work, I can tell you with absolute certainty that the men who do best are not the ones looking for a magic pill. They're the ones who treat supplements as one tool in a larger toolbox. The toolbox also includes walking 30 minutes a day, lifting some weights twice a week to maintain muscle mass, which is hugely important for blood sugar regulation as we get older, eating real food, prioritizing sleep, managing stress, and staying connected to people you love. That's the whole picture. These 9 supplements, used wisely and in the right combinations, can absolutely accelerate your progress. But they work because you're working. Don't ever forget that. If this video helped you, do me a favor and share it with the men in your life. Your buddies, your brothers, your dad, your grown sons. So many guys are walking around with prediabetes or full-blown diabetes and have no idea there are real science-backed natural strategies to help them. Hit that like button if you got value from this, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one, and ring the bell so you actually get notified when I post something new. In the next video, I'm going to dive deep into the comparison between berberine and metformin because that's the question I get asked more than any other, and you deserve a complete answer. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next one.